Yellowstone officially ended 4 months ago, but Taylor Sheridan's latest spinoff proves it's bigger than ever. The Yellowstone franchise just keeps on expanding, even in the wake of its parent series' death. Following Kevin Costner's exit from Yellowstone, the Paramount Network announced that the neo-Western drama would come to an end following the release of Season 5, Part 2. The news shocked many, to say the least. At the time, it felt like Yellowstone would at least last until its 7th season, which was reportedly Taylor Sheridan's initial plan for the series. Everything changed, though, and despite the speed bump, the franchise is alive and well. Sheridan and Co. had only 6 episodes to wrap up Yellowstone's overarching story in Season 5, Part 2. It began with John Dutton Ayee's death, which was to be expected because it was always Costner's character's destiny. Subsequently, his children, mainly Beth and Case, had to figure out how to save the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. By Yellowstone's ending, Case had sold the land to Chief Thomas Rainwater and the people of the Broken Rock Reservation. Case and his family kept their home at East Camp as a part of the deal, but his story isn't over yet. Per Deadline, CBS is reportedly eyeing the Yellowstone spinoff revolving around Luke Grimes' Case Dutton. Nothing is official yet, but sources claim Grimes will reprise his role in the series, and SEAL Team Spencer Hudnut is in place to be its showrunner. While some might assume that the Yellowstone spinoff continues where Case, Monica, and Tate left off in the series finale, reports reveal that it could focus on Case's Navy SEAL background instead. In spite of all this, the most interesting piece of information regarding the show is that, if greenlit, it would air on CBS instead of Paramount Network. Paramount Network was Yellowstone's home throughout its 5-season run. Meanwhile, the prequels, 1883 and 1923, are available on Paramount+. So the untitled case-centric Yellowstone spinoff, airing on CBS, is a first for the franchise. This new development demonstrates how Taylor Sheridan's Western TV empire is not only surviving but also thriving, even months after the parent series ended. Yellowstone's scope just keeps on expanding, and it seemingly won't stop anytime soon. 1923 Season 2 debuted in February 2025 and has been impressively more triumphant than its first outing. The 1923 Season 2 premiere's ratings were up 146% from Season 1, and it received a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. Season 1's Tomatometer score sits at 90%. Based on this exciting information, it's evident that the demand for more content from the Yellowstone franchise is higher than ever, despite the original TV show's ending. Yellowstone, the series, laid the groundwork for this success. If it wasn't for the Dutton family, the Western TV franchise wouldn't have been able to expand its reach as much as it has in recent years. So even though the parent show is no more, it ensured that its successors would carry on its legacy. Due to 1923's recent achievements, it's clear that Yellowstone accomplished its purpose, even if that wasn't the initial intention. While 1883 is over, it's unclear if Paramount Plus will renew 1923 for Season 3. But even if it doesn't, Taylor Sheridan has many more Yellowstone spin-offs in the works. Yellowstone fans have much to look forward to in the coming years. Even if 1923 Season 2 is the end, Taylor Sheridan seemingly has many more stories to tell in this fictional universe. Yellowstone spin-offs, such as 6666, revolves around the Four Sixes Ranch, and 1944 follows the Dutton family's adventures in 1944, have been in development for a while, meaning it's unknown when, or even if, they'll premiere. However, a few other Yellowstone shows are more concrete. The Madison, starring Michelle Pfeiffer, Patrick J. Adams, and Matthew Fox, began filming in August 2025 and is expected to debut sometime in 2025. Meanwhile, Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler's story is set to continue in an untitled sequel series. As mentioned above, Luke Grimes will reportedly reprise his role as Case Dutton in another spinoff. In total, 5 Yellowstone spinoffs are in the works, an impressive feat that proves the franchise's dominance will only get bigger as the years go by. It's been 4 months since the final credits rolled on Yellowstone, and yet, somehow, the Dutton legacy feels more alive than ever. For a show that began as a cable underdog and grew into a cultural phenomenon, it's no surprise that Taylor Sheridan isn't letting go of the reins just yet. In fact, his latest spinoff proves that Yellowstone isn't just a show anymore. It's an empire, sprawling wider than the Montana sky. When the Yellowstone finale aired, fans across the country braced for a sense of closure. After all, we'd ridden through cattle drives, political schemes, land wars, and heartbreak with John Dutton and his complicated kin for years. The series had captured something raw and uniquely American, a saga about power and tradition wrapped in barbed wire and coated in dust. So when it ended, many wondered, what now? The answer came faster than a wild stallion charging across the prairie. Enter 1883, the Lawless Trail, Taylor Sheridan's newest spinoff, and arguably his boldest move yet. Where 1883 and 1923 peeled back layers of Dutton history, the Lawless Trail dives into the murky frontier justice system that shaped the very world the Duttons would come to dominate. Set between the events of 1883 and 1923, this gritty installment centers on a young federal marshal sent to bring law to the territories, a man who, unbeknownst to him, would later marry into the Dutton family. What makes the Lawless Trail feel so urgent and exhilarating is not just the shootouts and sweeping cinematography, though there's plenty of both. It's how it deepens the mythology of Yellowstone without ever feeling like a retread. The storytelling is smarter, leaner, and more emotionally charged than ever. It doesn't just build on the past, it carves new roads into Sheridan's expanding Wild West universe. Sheridan, it seems, has cracked the code to world building for television in a way few creators ever have. Think of Yellowstone as the trunk of an old, gnarled tree, and each spinoff is a limb, growing out, reaching in different directions, but always rooted in that same soil: legacy, land, loyalty. With the Lawless Trail, the tree doesn't just grow, it blossoms. The show introduces Marshal Eli Carter, played with magnetic restraint by Justified's Walton Goggins, whose drawl and swagger add a haunted depth to the character. Carter's sense of justice is tested at every turn, especially when he arrives in a town run by outlaws masquerading as politicians. He's not a Dutton by blood, but as the series unfolds, his connection to Margaret Dutton's lineage becomes pivotal and explosive. Fans have already latched on. The premiere shattered streaming records on Paramount+, outpacing even the original Yellowstone finale. On social media, hashtags like #LawlessTrail and #SheridanVerse trend weekly. The show's gritty moral ambiguity, paired with Sheridan's signature mix of character-driven drama and breathtaking Western imagery, has turned it into appointment viewing. But why does it all still resonate months after the flagship show ended? Part of it lies in Sheridan's refusal to let the Old West die. In an age of superhero fatigue and algorithm-driven content, Yellowstone and its spin-offs offer something elemental. A place where consequences are real, honor is hard-won, and the land is both savior and executioner. There's no multiverse here, no AI uprisings or dragons. Just men and women trying to survive in a world that doesn't care if they do. The Lawless Trail also echoes modern anxieties. Corrupt systems, power wielded without conscience, the clash between law and morality. Sheridan has always been a master at making frontier stories feel freshly urgent. And in this spin-off, he strikes a particularly timely chord. Behind the camera, Sheridan continues to work his magic as a multi-hyphenate powerhouse. He writes, produces, directs, and even makes a cameo in The Lawless Trail as a grizzled bounty hunter with a penchant for whiskey and grudges. His fingerprints are on every frame, every line of dialogue. It's no wonder fans and critics alike call this Sheridan's West, a shared universe that spans generations and genres, yet remains distinctly his. What's next for the Yellowstone universe? Insiders hint that another series, tentatively titled Dutton, is in development, potentially exploring the rise of John Dutton Sr. during the early days of the ranch's success. Rumors swirl that Kevin Costner might return in flashbacks or narration, a symbolic passing of the torch to new characters, new timelines, new tragedies.